Alright guys, so I'm still working on the engine. I'm just about finished now. I had the engine pulled all the way apart down to the heads. I decided I wanted to do that before going on the cross-country trip. Winter's coming. I'm not really going to take the trip out west. I'm going to end up going south to dodge wintertime, or take a little trip along the Gulf of Mexico. So I decided to do my engine work now, don't rush anything, and then get it done and then go on the trip. So I'm pretty much finishing up today. Everything has been replaced. So these gaskets these come with the bus on the 454. The only problem is these things leak on that engine on the back. No matter what you do, they end up leaking, and puddles of oil end up going down to your starter area. So these cover more surface area. It's a little bit of an upgrade. Some people have already changed them to this. They work a lot better. Also, I had a bad thermostat. This one doesn't fully close, as you can see. You can see the light through there. It wasn't allowing my bus to heat up past 147 degrees, so I threw a new AC Delco OEM thermostat in there. I also did all new oxygen sensors, new plugs, new wires, new belts. So I just did the throttle body gasket just now. The gasket just came in the mail. That was the last gasket I was waiting on, so I just put that back on. I had the exhaust manifolds off, resealed everything, put new Delphi Packard wire on there. Went through any electrical connections that were open and exposed to the elements. I resealed those back up, polished everything off, put new belts on. The new thermostat is in there. This is where they leak from on the 454, so it's got the new valve cover gasket on this side. I still have to do the other side, but that will stop that from leaking. Yeah, it's got the new O2 sensors. I just started filling this thing back up with water. It's still got more than half of the deck's cool in there. I'm going to flush it all out and then bring the hose over here and do a full flush, and then I'm going to put all brand new fluid in there. Once I do, I'm going to flush this thing out for like an hour. So yeah, this side. See, on this side is the same thing. I'm just waiting on one spark plug. One of the spark plugs came with a broken insulator in the mail, so the other one will be here today. It's got new wires, new plugs, resealed everything over here. It's got a new EGR valve over there. The old one had the ear was broken off, and it was making a vacuum leak, and I also changed the PCV valve and did those wires. It's got new O2 sensors. You can see down in there. It's got new O2 sensors in it. And yeah, so yeah, you can see, looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, a lot better. Cleaned it all up, made sure everything was taken care of. Yeah, I just feel a lot better now that I did this. When I'm going on the road, I know when I'm going to be driving, I'm going to be good. I have new coils coming today. I only put these ones back on just so in case I had to start the bus because I'm on the side of the road, I could do that. But it's got all new coils coming today, and everything was checked. I went through with a voltmeter. I checked, everything. I checked all my alternator. I checked my starter. I checked all the sensors. Made sure I didn't have any, funky things going on there with my 5-volt reference, or any grounding issues. I checked everything, so I know that when I go on this trip, I'm gonna be good to go. I checked all the hoses. I checked all the connections. I replaced anything that I needed to replace with rusted screws, whatever. It's got all brand new transmission fluid. It's got all the oil in there. It's got brand new differential fluid. Everything has been greased. All the joints have been greased. It's got brand new brakes on the front, the rear. It's got new, I did the caliper rebuild kits on the front of the bus, so it's got all basically brand new calipers going on there. Everything on this bus has been checked from A to Z. So I'm finishing assembling right now. I'm about to put this tube back on there, plug a couple of things in. And then that other spark plug and my coils will come today, so I'm going to start taking these off. That way I can just put the plug on, throw the new coils on, and I can start it up and finally check everything out. Now what happened was I had it hooked up to the diagnostic scanner, and you guys know that this bus was running fantastic. The only problem is it's just you can't go by ear. Once you have to hook it up to a diagnostic scanner and actually see the systems working in live time to see if your bus is running perfectly. And this bus on the short-term fuel trim for Bank 1 had a positive 35, and on long-term fuel trim for Bank 1 had positive 25, which is max. So I hit the gas pedal down, did a couple of checks and stuff, and that dropped down to 0 as soon as I snapped the throttle. So I knew I had a vacuum leak on that side of the engine somewhere. So that's what made me start poking around by the EGR valve and whatnot, and I found that EGR valve has a full vacuum leak, and also the PCV valve did. Then I had the little bit of leaking around the valve covers and a couple of other little issues, like the thermostat wasn't allowing the bus to heat up. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to take it all apart and replace everything. And that's what started this whole thing. So I replaced the EGR valve and the PCV valve first before I took everything else apart, and I turned on the bus, and that dropped my fuel trims down to 0. And the bus was running perfectly. So after I knew that that actually fixed the issue and I wasn't going to have to hunt anything else down, I just took the engine apart, and then I started doing the replacing the gaskets, resealing the exhaust, and I started the bus after the exhaust was resealed, and even though that it was sealed good the first time, there was still a slight leak in the back too on both sides. It runs a lot quieter, a lot smoother, a lot less vibration. Even though it was running really smooth before, it's running even better now. So once I get all this stuff hooked back up, I'll let you guys hear the engine start up and how it runs after all of this being replaced. But now I don't have to worry about the oil leaks or anything with plugs, coils, thermostat, coolant, oil lines, O2 sensors, gaskets, nothing. I don't have to worry about any of that now, so I can go on the road trip and drive in peace without my mind playing tricks on me the whole time. So that's what it is, guys. That's where I'm at right now, and that's why I haven't left yet. But it's done now. I mean, once these coils come and the other plug comes, I can hook this back up. I can clean everything off, do a once over, hook it back up to the diagnostic scanner, just check everything out again, close all this up, and finally get out of here and get on the road. So that's where I'm at. It looks a lot better though. I mean, it doesn't look like an old rusted piece of junk engine anymore. So yeah, very happy with that. Alright guys.